Hi everyone, I'm Connie Koch and I am the owner and instructor here at the Sewing Project Sewing School, and you are in the middle of my little sewing school here. So I just wanted to introduce myself, and I'm excited because I got to partner with Appletotes&Co, and we're going to have a fun 80s sew along. Okay, so this is the introduction, and this video is just explaining and showing you how to get prepared for our sew along. This is the cover sheet to the pattern. You need to, if you haven't already, go and purchase this wonderful 80s high top sneaker pattern from Appletotes&Co. And I'm telling you, they're fabulous. So I would show you the pair I made. You can see it actually I posted it on like 18-inch Doll World on Facebook, but I gave those away. And so I'm excited because during the sew along, I'll be making my own personal pair for my dolls. So definitely get this and download this. You definitely will need this for the sew along, for obviously the pattern pieces. And of course you'll have it instructions, because we are gonna sew along with the instructions with me as your guide and as your help. So definitely do this. So when you get that downloaded, you want to start gathering up all your stuff so we can get ready for our fabulous sew along. If you've never been a cobbler for 18-inch doll shoes, this is your time to jump in. I'm not going to say this is for very, very beginners. You definitely need to know your way around your sewing machine, but that doesn't mean if you're up for the challenge, sew along. Let's get this done, because why not jump in? You never know until you try. So if you've been always wanting to embark on vinyls and faux leathers for your shoes, this isn't, like I said, the very easiest project. Those little, flat shoes with one seam is very easy, but this is going to give you amazing results, and you're going to go, I just walked out sewing high top Velcroed sneakers, and you will feel so accomplished. So definitely need to gather up some, I call it faux leather. Vinyl is what it is actually, but I call it faux leather. And the reason why I say that is because when you decide which colors you want or whatever, you can go online, you can go to Joann Fabrics, has actually quite a wide array of selection, because they have their upholstery section. I think I got this one at Joann Fabrics actually, and I think they still have it. It's more on that champagne color. This is actually what, I didn't do this, but I got some exactly like this in more gold, and those were my first high top sneakers, was gold. Of course, because the 80s, you gotta have gold high top Velcroed sneakers. But if you notice me feeling it, you guys, this is what you want. You want kind of pliable for a sneaker, because sneakers are soft. They're not like stiff and tough. Well, some of them are, but in the doll world, don't do marine vinyl. If you see something in a color and it is thick and it says marine vinyl on it, please stay away from that for this project only, because it has so many parts and components to the tops of these that you definitely need something more pliable. Okay, and almost this in the back, it's real soft. It's like cloth-like. Don't get something with definite, it looks like felt on it. Please don't do that either. So I'm not going to have this whole introduction be on vinyl, but this is really obviously the important decision. A lot of it on what you're going to make is because this is going to make or break your experience. So I have this, I don't know if I'm going to actually do my sew along sneakers in this, but this is what I'm talking about. It's soft. It's kind of more like a weight you would reupholster like a chair with, nice soft. You could actually make a nice jacket with this. Okay, that's what I mean by that. You wouldn't make a jacket out of marine vinyl. Okay, so enough with the vinyl, but definitely, and what does it say here? You really only need 1/8 of a yard. So they come in literally, what is it, 60 wide rolls. You only need 1/8 of a yard. If they won't give you 1/8 of a yard, get 1/4 of a yard. It's not going to be that much, and you can make a lot more different shoes with that vinyl as well, or handbags, don't forget that. Okay, let's move on. Okay, vinyls, obviously thread, you know, that's a given of your choice. So with that, you can either do a contrasting thread, so it's going to show, and I'll be honest with you, it's awesome and it looks great. I will actually be doing that with my sew along so you can see my stitches. But a color match, if you're very leery on your top stitching or how the stitching is going to look, if you get something that's going to match and meld in and just bond and just kind of be, you know, camouflaged in, I would do that. Okay, so but it's up to you. Live bold, get contrasting thread, or play it safe and get thread to match. Okay, glue. Let's talk glue. She has here in the instruction sheets, a lot of times I know I've used it depending on what it is, but in this case, I'm not going to get the cement glue. I will be using, because she gives either cement glue or hot glue. So I'll actually, and I'll tell you, you need to get this. This will be your best friend, because I don't pin. I actually glue based, and this is what you want to glue based. It's by Beacon. It's called Fabri-Tac. Get something similar to that, but when this dries or whatever, you can actually sew over this, and it's not going to gum up your needle, and it's not going to pitch you fits. I've tried other glues to glue based when I'm working with faux leathers and vinyls. They don't work as well as this. So I highly recommend this. See, this is a little teeny bottle. You don't have to invest in a big, huge bottle, which actually I do have big, huge bottles of it because I use it for everything. So that, as well as I will be using a glue gun. That is my choice, especially when we put the soles together. Okay, so glue gun and your Beacon Fabri-Tac glue, highly recommended. Those are the two glues I would have being ready to do the sew along. You want, if you can see this, it's 6 millimeter. It's the 6 millimeter foam, 5 millimeter foam. Don't get too hung up on if it's 5 or 6, but you want that thickness for the exterior sole, for the actual outside sole of your shoe. So you'll want that in the color of your choice. What do you want your sneakers? Do you want black soles or do you want white soles? You know, or hot pink soles. You get to choose. So just make sure you have a sheet of this. And I actually use this for my inside of the sole. So this is just that small little 2 millimeter foam. And I chose white. A lot of times I will put fabric for my inner soles, but for sneakers, I just want it to be sneaker-esque. So I use a 2 millimeter foam, and 9 times out of 10, I do white, just for the doll's feet. Okay, so I would add this. It's not in your ingredient sheet in the pattern you have or you will be getting, but this is this is what I'm going to be using. But you're more than welcome to put fun fabric in there and things like that. But this is what's going to be in my sew along. How easy peasy that will be. Okay, so there's 2 options for getting to the soles again. There's 2 choices I'm going to give you. And the reason why is because not everybody can either A, get a hold of this, or B, want to embark on this. But I have this chipboard that I always use. It's pretty stiff. It's bendable, but it's pretty stiff. And I use a scroll saw to cut out my my doll soles with this. However, you don't have to use this, and you don't want to, if you do use this, you don't want to try cutting it with your hands. I have. But this is just regular, it's pretty good. It's like, you know, from snacks or cereal boxes or whatever, okay? So this side, right? It's not as thick as the chipboard, but if you cut out, probably, I've done 2 layers, like, so I have 2 layers of this for each shoe. If you do 3 layers, so that would be cutting, see, 1, 2, that'd be cutting 6 out. So you'd be cutting 3 lefts and 3 rights. Go for this because this is easy accessible. So do it, but highly recommend using 3 layered. Don't try 1, don't just cut out 1, don't cut out 2, do 3, because you definitely want a nice sturdy sole. And that's why I like using this. But if this is on order, I will use this in a pinch. Okay, so I just wanted to give you that option to also do that, and I will interject that when we get to that point on preparing our soles, that if you are using 3 layers of that, how you're going to work that too. Okay. Okay, so with that, this is laced up, right? So we do need somewhat of a hole puncher. This is like a memory keeper, and it's from scrapbooking, you guys, but I can set grommets with this, and I don't use it usually for scrapbooking. I use it for doll shoes and things I need to put eyelets in, or grommets in, small ones, right? Or hole punching. And these have 2 different sizes. Now, this is like a little squishy kind, but there are some out there that you can just pound. And Tandy Leather has a section in Hobby Lobby if you have them. I don't know where you're coming at in the world, but there are all such thing as leather punches too. That's another thing. But just get some type of a hole punch, whether you're doing it manually and you're pounding the hole in, or you get to line it up and you squish a hole. But that's how you're going to punch your shoelace holes in the top of your shoes. So you do need something to do that. We cannot, it's too small, we cannot snip it around with small little scissors. The other thing too is let's talk shoelaces, what you need. So I like to use a cording. Okay, this is, yes, I got a boatload of it. It's a 1/8 inch or 3.2 millimeter cording. Do not go any bigger than this. This would be the biggest for doll shoes that you want to go. But that doesn't mean you have to get cording. You could get, there's something called rat tail cord, which is more shinier. Look in the trims and ribbon sections. You will find different options that are rounded, like that parachute cord. Okay, if you get the smaller paracord, it's out there, and now it's on tons of colors. That's perfect. You can actually burn the ends of that, and it's not going anywhere either. So just be mindful. Choose whatever you want. Do you want plain white shoelaces? Do you want to match your shoelaces? Do you want 2 different color shoelaces? But with that, you need something to obviously have shoelaces with. The other thing that's on here too is double-sided sticky tape. Definitely is a must for when we do our sole part of it for our cobbling. And you need also, this is Velcro, I'm sorry, hook and loop tape. And mind you, this is a big piece. You just need a little minute amount. If you have a scrap, but you may want to kind of make sure that it's blended with your faux leather you choose. Doesn't matter. But this definitely, you do need a little section of this hook and loop tape. You probably already have in your stash. The other thing too is this is a scrap of batting. Okay. It's pretty thick, but you just need a little bit. Like you don't need a lot. This is actually even way too much for the pair of shoes you're making. But that is something that you want. Or if you don't have this and you don't have a friend that quilts and can't throw out, scraps at you, if you have some fleece, I haven't used fleece, but if you get the lofty fleece, just like what you make fleece blankets out of or whatever, you can totally use that, but get the loftier kind. Don't get the kind that's super thin, because you do want that puff, because the high top part of it is puffy, and that's what we use inside of that. So definitely grab a scrap of that. Now, the other things that are listed in here that I'm going to tell you that you really, 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 really need to have on hand is a good pair of fabric scissors, and that is also cutting faux leathers and vinyls, okay, a good pair of those. You definitely need a good pair of paper scissors. And the reason why I say that is because you will find when I do my first, I share the first sew along video with you. Our first is preparing and prepping everything, all our bit pieces, is the patterns that come out that we print out. We're using faux leather. So I like to use, these are, I get at the Dollar Tree, dollar store, whatever you have. These are actually chopping mats. Can you believe it? They're so thin. But they come in the kitchen section. There's actually 2 of them in this packet. And you know, they sell this stuff at Joann Fabrics and all the quilting and fabric stores because they like to make templates. This is what I use for my templates. And I will show you what I do with this on all my patterns that I use faux leathers and vinyls for. And I go through a lot of this. So basically, it's 2 to a pack. It's for $1. I get it 50 cents a sheet. I mean, it's super cheap. So if you have that option to get this, awesome. If you don't, the paper pattern will still do you no problem. Don't worry about it. But I wanted to interject that because this will be amazing. You go, why didn't I think of that? The other thing is, okay, so let's talk presser feet. 1/4 inch. If you do not have a 1/4 inch presser foot, like one of these or something similar, you don't have to have one. You'll just have to make sure that you have your needle position and your regular foot in conjunction with your 1/4 inch seam allowance, okay? But the 1/4 inch makes it super easy. So if you have that, obviously utilize it. The other thing, and it depends on the full fabric or the full leather you get, some of it's stickier than others. And if it's super sticky, you may want like a Teflon foot. If you have it, awesome. If you don't have it and you don't want to invest in it, then there might be an option if you have to put like blue tape or something on the bottom of it. I've never done that. I've never thought it really worked well, but the Teflon foot is nice to have, okay? So that's another option. This isn't a make or break. If you don't have it, you don't have it. There's other ways, but if you're not familiar with working with faux leathers and vinyls, that foot is amazing. So the other thing too is, what do we do when we start cobbling, right? How do you attach the soles? And the other 2 things, either or, that you'll want to have on hand when we get to that video is either, I have a shoe cobbling stand, okay, and that will, the link to this will be up in the description of this video, but I got it through a gal from Etsy. This is for the 18-inch doll only. However, obviously this pattern is for 18-inch dolls. So if you don't have this, and if you don't want to invest in that, you definitely need, and don't think you're going to try to assemble that without any type of a form. You will want to take one of your 18-inch dolls and flip her upside down and use her feet, okay? And that will all be explained. So either use one of your dolls or you can prepare and invest in one of these, but it's all good, but you definitely need this, okay? So I'm really excited because sew-alongs are really fun. You get the camaraderie of everybody sewing with you and asking questions along the way, and you don't feel like if you get stuck, you're alone in it. As well as it's not like I take you with one section and we get all that done, and then we do the next section, and then the next section, and before you know it, you're going to have a pair of amazing 80s sneaker high tops for your dolls, and then you'll have to figure out, well, what am I going to pair it with, right? Got to sew some cool 80s fashion, or you don't, right? So anyway, welcome. Excited to get started with you. And so we'll be seeing you around the sewing room real soon.